Hey Brandon, how's it going?
Excellent. How are you?
Good, good, sir. Good.
Can you hear me good and see my screen and everything?
Yes.
All right, excellent. You had one question, but I'm sure you probably had a couple of things holding you back. So just kind of wanted to go over everything and make sure you understood what you're getting into, and hopefully we can work together and get you rocking and rolling here soon.
Okay.
Before we get into all that, I know we've been going back and forth, via email a little bit. Can you just tell me a little bit about your background and what brought you to us in the first place? If you listen to our podcast, you probably know that I always ask that, but this isn't something that you just kind of stumble on late at night. There's usually some motivation behind it.
Right, right. Yeah. Like I told Jill, so I got about 23 years now and looking to, of course, retire in the near future as well as start a business kind of congruently. So it's almost seamless when I do retire. And then working with my wife, she has a deep background in DSP work or direct support work with challenged or enabled people as well as retirement homes as well. So she kind of has that background as far as that goes. And then me being in the area and everything, having that background. What kind of sparked finding you guys was because we've talked before. Like I said, with her working DSP work, she understood the ins and outs of working and the need for housing for those kind of individuals, as well as the effect of companies like she was working for, the companies that were searching for places to put their clients in. So kind of doing research on that, kind of you guys kind of popped up, and that's the reason why I looked at it and listened to it. And of course, I did buy the Gold course and been through the Gold course and found that information very relevant on what we was looking at doing. I think the part where I looked at the Done for You program when you guys introduced that, it made sense in the concept for the fact that, like I said, I work full time with military right now, so that kind of takes a big chunk of my time, as far as trying to apply the principles that you guys put out in the Go course.
Yeah, for sure. Have you been able to take any action from the gold course? Like, have you guys begun building your marketing list? Have you made any contacts? Give me kind of a quick update on where you guys are at with the current business.
Yeah, so I started after I talked with Jill. I started using the yellowpages.com, the aspect of that, and searching my local area. And I kind of build a list off that.
Mhm.
I have sent out a few emails. I haven't got anything back. I have not made any phone calls, unfortunately, at this point.
How many total contacts do you have in your database?
I would say just offhand from that first initial pull, and then I segmented them between like organizations, social workers, and whatever keyword that I used to find those. I would say on those lists is about right around about 150 people, if not more, or 150 entries. I would say.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna email's tough. Email's one of those things you need to go really big. Like, sometimes we'll send, an email out to 10,000 people and we get a lot of replies, but it's just kind of at scale, right? Like it might look like a lot, like we might get 20 to 30 replies, but that's on 10,000 people, right? So email is one of those things you definitely want to be doing. You definitely want to be having running it, basically kind of running it in the background on
Mhm.
autopilot, ideally. But we'll talk about how we do that as well here in a little bit. When did you first sign up? Like, when did you start following us?
Oh, it's been probably a year, if not 2 years now.
Okay.
And it kind of got put on the back burner, so to speak.
Yeah, that
Uh,
doesn't count. When did you start like being active with it? Like maybe even education or taking action?
yeah, I would say that happened in the last 6 months that I've really been looking at it more seriously.
Okay.
Uh, like I said, honestly, I just came off a deployment here back in October. With my free time that I did have, I tried to look at the material in the course, and then when I got home is when it was like, okay, we need to do something with this.
Nice. How about the podcasts? Have you been going through all of those?
Yeah, I've been listening to those pretty regularly. They've been quite a bit of help, I would say.
And I was going through our conversations via email. I
Mhm.
think you mentioned real estate. Do you have tell me a little bit about that. What's your real estate background?
Yeah, so I started out. I actually flipped two homes, and both of them were probably the biggest learning.
Yeah. When did you do that?
I did one in 2019, and then the second one was right in the middle of 2020, I believe.
All right. So
Um,
you were you still working full time with the military while you did that?
yeah, yeah, and that was my my first intention was to just do flips, but like I said, those first two were like probably the case and study of any and everything that could go wrong.
Hey, I mean, it was a learning experience, right? You paid for education, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely did.
Did they profit?
I broke even on one, and then I made probably I think it was right around 15,000 on the other one. But it definitely, looking back, it was not worth the headache that it was to make that 15,000 on it.
I kind of started in construction before I got into real estate and learned quickly, you think about how long it's going to take and how much it's going to cost, and then just multiply by two,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
that's
Most
definitely the way it worked.
most beginners just follow that first step and forget the multiplication aspect.
Hmm.
How did you find the deals?
I used wholesalers on both of those.
Yeah, sorry, man, but they probably made more money than you did.
Yeah, yeah, definitely did. Definitely.
That was that's kind of after like the construction stuff, that's what I did was wholesaling. That's kind of how I met Andy and kind of built rapport with him. And yeah, I still kind of dabble here and there, but our biggest pool of deals are typically like, tired investors,
Yeah.
like people that got into it at a bad price, and they're the ones that are like, man, just get this property off my hands. So that's kind of why in our content, that's why we see, you see me and Andy kind of go hard on the real estate other strategies, but it's just because we see so many people get burned.
Yeah, yeah.
So but here's no offense, I would have guessed just, most investors don't really make a ton of money in the beginning
Hmm.
unless they're wholesaling. Even then, you don't really, even the wholesalers typically screw up and they spend too much on marketing and stuff like that.
Right.
But here's why I like hearing that. If you've been listening to the real estate podcast, what would you say is a very common like thing in everybody's background here of our success stories?
I noticed most of them. I know the last few had real estate background.
Bingo. Real
Uh,
estate background, not
mhm.
real estate tycoons though.
Right,
It's
right.
not like they were, it's not someone that's like flipping 100 properties per year or just, making $1,000 per month in passive income from their rental properties, right? But I found that if anybody has a history of following through on any strategy, like just the fact that you were able to find a property, you're able to close on it, you're actually able to like finish the project and not need to sell it to people like us, before you went into foreclosure.
Hmm.
Or even people that like, yeah, maybe they got a rental property, maybe they're losing money, right? But they have a history of like actually following through on what they started. That tends to be a common theme that I see, not just in our done for you clients, but just in our success stories in general, or even like a successful, career or successful background. That always helps. It's one of those things that we screen for with our done for you clients. So I love that. Another thing I like about like people that have done flips or wholesaling or even, being a landlord, it's extremely competitive.
Hmm.
Like look outside, how many We Buy Houses cash signs do you see in Indianapolis?
Right, right, all over the place.
Like 5 of them on every corner, right?
Yeah, yeah, at least.
And you know from looking for deals, well, you know who's on the other side of those, right?
Yeah, yeah, not a real estate person. I'll say that for the
No,
most
it's
part.
it's 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 either a wholesaler or a flipper,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they're all competing for the same deals, right?
Hmm.
You've been looking for those deals. You know, how many people out there are really eager to sell their property for 50 cents on the dollar so an investor makes a ton of money?
Right, right.
Have you done
Yep.
any of the marketing yourself to try to find those deals?
No, I have not.
Just
Uh,
wholesalers? Yeah, I'm telling you, to get a wholesale deal, we need to make like thousands of phone calls. It's crazy.
right, and I can tell you, I made acquaintance with one of the bigger wholesaling companies there in Indianapolis, and he told me like how much they spend on marketing and everything like that. I'm like,
About
yeah,
10K, right?
oh, I think he said in 1 year they spent like a quarter of a million on marketing alone.
Yeah,
Like they're a pretty huge company, and it's like, yeah, that's way out of my budget.
yeah, you won't hear the gurus say that, right? It's always says, invest in real estate with no money down, right? Which it's technically true. You don't need to have money to close on the deal, but you
Mhm.
better have a couple $1,000 to put into marketing.
Yeah, at least, at
But
least.
yeah, so you know how competitive that is and how little, demand there is for it. Yeah, a
Hmm.
lot of people want the deals, but there's not a lot of deals out there, right? Everybody's competing for that needle in a haystack, and that haystack is, just a haystack. It's like a massive field, basically.
Right. Right. Yeah, definitely.
Now on
Definitely.
the flip side, just look outside Indianapolis, you probably see people like out there that need affordable housing, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, pretty as far as I know, it's like every city in America at this point, it's pretty much a crisis. I mean, at
Yeah.
least here in Texas, it is. How much advertising or marketing do you see for affordable housing being offered?
Yeah, I would say close to zero, if anything. I mean, I really haven't seen that.
So that just shows, to my point, this is why a lot of people that have a background in real estate tend to be pretty successful with this, in my opinion. They at least have like the personal background and like motivation and grit to at least start something that's very competitive and have somewhat of a success. Now, when
Hmm.
you do this, it's in much higher demand and there's not that much competition. You
Right.
have a little bit of competition, right? But it's nowhere near, like competing for flipping or wholesaling or anything like that.
Right. Right. And I can say I actually when I first started looking at I actually started a little, and we still have it, a Facebook chat group for people that are in Indiana that run it. And from what I've seen, just for the few people that are in there, most of them try to help each other out. And it's like if one person doesn't have housing, they'll try to refer it to another person that does, and which is encouraging in itself, right? So I can. I've seen the other side of it, like you said, like with the flippers and wholesalers, how competitive and honestly really almost cutthroat with a lot of it with the different, even with the one property the latter property I had when I was flipping it got daisy chained a couple of times. I actually talked to the wholesaler. It was like three wholesalers down, and he was trying to sell me my own property. I was like I was like, brother,
Yeah,
that I own that property that you're trying to sell me right now. He's like,
it's
oh,
crazy.
so that it's that the backdoor processes that a lot of them do and everything. But like I say, with the people that I've seen, at least in the Indiana scope of things, with the that they're really receptive and trying to assist each other with it rather than trying to cut each other at the knees.
Yeah, I mean, you'll find that, just people that are looking up this type of business are they tend to have more of the personality like your wife, to be honest. Like most of the people are, nurses or they work in the medical field. They have the caretaker personality,
Mhm.
which, you probably have a little bit of that as well, but it's a complete different personality than like the typical flipper and wholesaler.
Right. Right. Definitely.
Our our struggle is almost like it's almost like we need to take people like that and give them a little bit of that like that edge, right? Like being
Yeah.
very direct, closing the deal. That's why with the done for you clients, I like to work with people where I don't really have to, I'm not really going to have to, not me, but the coaches at this point, we don't have to change mindsets. Like we don't want to be psychologists. We want people that are already, very business minded. They have some background of success. We want people that don't need us, but it's more of like a partnership.
Hmm.
Just based on your background, working with your wife, there's no doubt in my mind that you guys could do this on your own, but
Hmm.
it's about seeing what we're gonna do, how fast we're gonna do it, kind of relieving the pressure off of you guys, and really
Hmm.
just to get what you were gonna do anyways done. Who knows how long it would take for you guys to get your own team trained and everything like that. We just want to be able to do that quicker for you guys. So
Okay.
that's what we're looking for when we look for people to take on. So yeah, this isn't like, you could probably tell by the marketing emails and stuff like that. Like we don't have a purchase link. We're not trying to sell as many of these as possible. We're looking for the
Right.
right people to work with. So yeah, just kind of based on the background, just the initial convo. I like the fact that you're working with your wife as well. What is her schedule like?
Her schedule's pretty much open right now, and because I even talked to her about if we do this, occasionally she would, because on the from what I gather, like on the marketing calls, so she'd be more available than I would. I would try to make most of them, but her schedule is pretty much open to that.
That's one of the things we've kind of had conflicts with and we're screening for now is we don't need people to be like unemployed, right? But
Mhm.
if we can set a meeting up and give you like maybe 48 hours ahead of time,
Mhm.
we want people that kind of have a flexible schedule. So, hey guys, we have a meeting scheduled, for noon at this time. Does that work for you? And we give a
Yeah.
couple of days ahead. Is that something that would work for you guys?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
What about you? Because I know you're working full time. Do you have some flexibility like that during the day?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely do.
Okay. You work from home?
It's kind of like a hybrid right now, and I wanted to clarify that with you as well. I'm gonna say our home home station or home base would be in Evansville, Indiana. And when I was on the call with, she looked it up. So it's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours from Indy. But I work in Indy. My job is actually based in Indy. So I would say, and like I told her, I prefer to start in Evansville, and then if we get to that point where we branch out, we can explore Indy and then probably the surrounding areas because where we're at, we're pretty much in the center hub of it all. So Indy's like 2 hour, 2.5 hours away. You got Cincinnati, that's close. Louisville, St. Louis is about 4 hours away. But you got major cities are right around that area that are not too far to travel as far as that goes.
Ideally, you want to be somewhere where you could get to the property like that same day,
Yeah.
like easily. So
Yeah.
like a 4 hour, yeah, you could do that, but if you get a call at 4, it's rush hour, it might be tough to get there. Um,
Right.
the
Yeah, and that's what I want. And honestly, I think that's my biggest concern with the Done for You program right now, to make sure that Evansville looks like a good market. I mean, we know that there's housing needs here and and everything, but to get to that, I would say if it looks like it's an area that we could do anywhere between 3 to 5 houses in this area, I think it'd be doing pretty outstanding for the population in
what is the
comparison.
population?
I want to say it's right around 100,000, 120,000 or so.
You have, I mean, you have like C class. I mean, I can see it here. Now I've heard of it. I'm not familiar with it, but it's clearly a city.
Mhm.
There's, you have like you have your transitioning neighborhoods out there where there's
Yeah.
flips going on, there's rentals.
Yeah, and it's expanding as well. I know the east side of town and the west side now is starting to expand quite a bit. So there is expansion going on.
The only type of area we're not gonna take a client on is rural and like that's the target location.
Yeah, I think Evansville can be a good launching point. Like I said, and I told Jill, our goal would at least be 3 to 5 homes going in this area. I guess my future goal would be to expand out to those bigger markets when it's suitable to do so.
Aurora, is that your county?
No, Vandenberg
All right, what is Aurora?
might be Illinois, I think.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah. No, yeah, the county where we're at is Vandenberg.
That was one of the things that kind of you were iffy about was the location.
Yeah, yeah, because I just wanted to make sure that would kind of fit the model to be successful, at least starting off. Like I said, to get it up and running. If you guys think that would look like a good market to start in.
I mean, we've seen it work everywhere. We've had people that operate in rural areas. We have I know of one of our students that's operating in downtown LA,
Mm,
which is not in the outskirts, but right in downtown. So
rough.
it can work anywhere. We want to take on people that are just the general business model. We don't want to get creative. We
Right.
want to work where there's demand for it. We want to be in a C class transitioning a city where there's C class transitioning neighborhoods and there's
Hmm.
actual demand for it.
Yeah.
Like clear demand, right? Like we don't want to be relying on Craigslist and roomies and stuff like that.
Right. Right.
Are you open to, let's say we find that there's way more opportunity in Indianapolis.
Hmm.
Are you open to operating there?
Yeah, yeah. That would have been my second choice if I had a choice. But I mean, we're familiar with that area because we lived up there for between 5 to 10 years, so we're fairly familiar with that area. And like I said, my job is based up there, so
You're there
yeah,
most like some of the time.
yeah, yeah. And I got quite a few real estate connections up there. I actually have more real estate connections up there than I do here in our hometown.
Yeah,
Uh,
you'll be able to find them in Evansville though. This is the coach that I think you'll get along with the best. You seem, I don't know, like kind of analytical. You had a lot of really good questions, kind of want to know exactly what you're gonna get, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So, and you have the real estate investor background, similar personality to Eric. So I think
Eric.
yep, I think you guys will get along great. Do
Okay.
you do you recognize?
I want to say I do. I'm trying to remember his story. I'm
He's
pretty sure I've listened to it. I'm just trying to remember which one
yeah,
because I
Bay
remember
Bay
Jay.
Area, Bay Area. His mom actually ran like sober living properties or assisted livings. I don't really remember exactly. It was like kind of the licensed route though. So
Hmm.
he was somewhat familiar with it. He was also getting into real estate investing. He's been with us for a couple years as a student, and he was just perfect for a coach. So
Because I do believe I remember listening to his
probably
story.
if you're listening to a lot of them, it's probably tough to remember all of them. I'm gonna send you this link in the chat. Check that out. This will probably be the coach that you're gonna work with. You
Okay.
guys get along great, similar personalities. That's not key, right? Like he'll be able to work with everybody, but since he's kind of open, that's gonna be good.
Okay.
Also, he lives in the Bay Area, which is notoriously like inflated housing prices, right? So
Yeah.
he's right in the Bay, which
Hmm.
is it could work, but it's very hard for the strategy to work there. He
Right.
actually operates like it's at least an hour. It might be closer to two. Let me check. So that's another thing that you guys could have in common. He is in San Jose and he operates in Modesto, which is Modesto is more, yeah, so he's about an hour and a half from where he lives compared to where he operates. And he's the operational manager, so it's not like he's got, a manager out here.
Yeah.
So it's totally doable.
Okay.
I could tell you were also, what happens if the plan doesn't work? What is the plan?
Yeah.
Kind of wondering about that, right?
Yeah.
Have you gotten a chance to review the scope of work?
Yes. Yeah.
I'll kind of highlight what I think is just the highest value, in my opinion. And you can put dollar prices on some of these things, but just, some of this stuff is you can't really put a price tag on it. For one, just, being able to work with our coaches like this. Eric's got 5 properties, background in real estate experience. He's not just pitched, to landlords, but he's actually taken, I don't know if you've seen the business plan in the gold course that's kind of higher level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was what he used to, not just partner with a landlord, but partner with a bank, right? So Eric's done that, and he's found like capital partners by doing that. So talking to landlords, if you are going to go the rental arbitrage route, that's a walk in the park for someone like Eric. You're also going to have, did you understand like the group chat, the Discord?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically like being able to text the team, much quicker response. Obviously, if Eric's on calls or meetings, stuff like that, you're not going to get an immediate response. But if he's there, if he's available, it's going to be like having a chat with them. You'll be able to consider it like texting your buddies.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be like. You've mentioned you guys haven't done any like meetings with the organizations or calls or anything like that.
Yeah. Not as of right now.
Be honest with me. Why haven't you done that? It's not time. I know you got a lunch break.
No. It definitely is not time. It's just, I think at the time, just to be transparent, it was a thing of, all right, let me use this strategy real quick just to test the waters and see what kind of response I get. And of course, like you said, just sending out emails is not the most optimal to get a response.
It's easy.
Right.
So I work with this organization. You call me. What are you gonna say?
Right. So I guess my initial pitch would have been, hey, we're and we're calling it Hope's Haven right now. We're Hope's Haven. We provide affordable housing in the area, and we're looking to work with organizations like yourself to put your clients into a nice, clean, safe, affordable housing. And was wanting to speak with you to see, what would be the opportunities in working with your organization, as well as if you had any referrals at the time that we could possibly speak about.
Not bad. That's not bad. Why haven't you done that on a lunch break?
I have no excuse, Brandon.
Yes, you do. You're nervous about it.
Slightly, yeah, slightly.
Look, everybody, have you ever had a sales job?
No, not per se. Not per se. No.
You never did cold calls for the real estate stuff?
I did a few, but not in any kind of high capacity.
You get told off?
And talked to a few people, but not to that extent. I started looking at it, I was like, why am I doing this when there's people already doing this? I'll just contact the wholesalers, which is probably not the most economic.
What did you say that did that guy tell you how much marketing spend he did per deal?
He didn't break it down per deal during that conversation. He was just kind of giving the overarching numbers that they was doing.
So if they're spending $5,000 to $10,000 per deal, that's very common. How much do you think they need to charge you on a fee?
At least that, if not 2 or 3 times that.
I mean, they're not just in it for charity, right? They got a 2 or 3x that to stay in business, right? So I understand that it's very time consuming. But it's that same issue. Just picking up the phone, smiling and dialing is kind of nerve-wracking. It's very easy to be like, put the phone down. Let me just go work on my flyers or read the gold course, or I'll send emails, right? So
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. Even though I've been doing sales forever, there's still like that little, I still have that a little bit before I hop on a call. So that's honestly like the main issue that we're looking to solve with the done for you deal. We
Mhm.
want the main point, which is why I asked about Indianapolis. We really just want you to become kind of a master at speaking with these people.
Yeah.
The real goal of the meetings, a lot of these places are big and bureaucratic. You're not going to get a contract with all of these places immediately, but we want you to be confident speaking with these people so you can walk into any kind of nonprofit, any shelter, and just speak with these people like you own it,
Mhm.
right? All businesses are relationship businesses, right? But
Yeah.
this one is huge with that. It's a very small community. Word of mouth spreads quickly, whether negative or positive.
Mhm.
So if it's positive, that's huge, right? But
Yeah.
if you're, no one's gonna send a mass email like, oh, hey, this guy spoke with me and he fumbled on his words. But
Right.
if you're a slumlord, or you don't treat the tenants right, the guests, licensees is the technical term.
Yeah.
If you don't treat them right, you're not in it for the right reasons. That's when the word of mouth is going to spread, and you'll probably be out of business quickly. But
Right.
if you're confident, you're professional, you speak well, you can build really good rapport. And on top of that, you can tell the story. Hey, I have a real estate background. I'm a veteran myself. I work with my wife. She has a background in this. We really want to help people. That's another thing we'll come up with, is just kind of crafting your story so you can begin kind of pitching yourselves to these people. That's why I bring up it might be good to market in Indiana, just
Mhm.
to find opportunities like that, and at least kind of, you know, at least get the connections,
Right.
and
Yep.
and at least practice. And
Yeah.
we might find, hey, um, we're marketing in both areas, which normally we don't do, but I'll talk to the team. We'll do marketing in both of the areas and just kind of see how it plays out. Just kind of the nuts and bolts. We have a couple of ways to kind of build that marketing list. We're going to automate that emailing, the Google ads. So we want to start driving traffic to your website. Most of the people that we're going to speak with we kind of do research and kind of follow the money and look for kind of the bigger organizations. It's a ton of back and forth with them. And we want to get you in front of the people that it's typically a bureaucratic organization, and there'll be someone in that organization whose specific job is to find real estate investors.
Yep.
So that's who the meetings are going to be in front of. That's who you'll be in front of on these Zoom meetings. And we kind of relieve that pressure for you. One, just those initial calls and the initial outreach. We take you to the point where we handle all that for you, and we get you in front of these people. And the first couple of meetings, you don't even have to do anything. You just listen to Eric do his thing. So our team is gonna, we have a bunch of keywords, as you probably know from the gold course.
Mhm.
Probably will be the assistant that you're going to be working with. I can just tell by, this website, this is the type of place that we're going to speak with. How many emails have you sent?
I would say, I think it's anywhere between 5 and 10 right now.
So you have around 100 contacts. You've hit them all about 5 times.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what we do is we'll call, we'll email, and then we follow up about every 48 hours. There's typically a ton of back and forth before we even get onto the call. I don't know if have you ever seen the picture on our webinars or in the email about where I showed an actual Gmail account with all the back and forth before we got a contract?
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that.
It's like 48 back and forth. That was one email chain, and then there was another on top of that, right? So
Yeah.
our assistants are going to be doing all that stuff. It's pretty, as you know, it's time consuming.
Mhm.
And it's pretty standard, right? Like you can train people to do that. We have our team that does that. Let's see if I can find contact us, media. No, let's go back to that one in Evansville. I like the look of that.
Is HUD and stuff like that, are those like the housing authority? Is that a good place to start?
Honestly, we like these nonprofits.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll get to the top of the food chain, which would probably be somewhere like this, to be honest. I can tell they're a
Yeah.
government website. I mean, they're tough to get a hold of. You ever try to call the DMV?
Yeah.
Or as a vet, trying to
Yeah.
get benefits and stuff like that. It's hit or miss, typically a miss with these places. It helps once you have, like I said, once you have relationships, once you start to network, once you start to know people.
Hmm.
We typically like these, I could just tell by these guys' website, they're just like a nonprofit.
Hmm.
Funds are going to flow from the major federal grants. They'll flow to places like this. There's
Hmm.
probably somebody here that then funnels that money to the smaller nonprofits like that. We like to
Hmm.
speak with these nonprofits.
Hmm.
They're a little
Yeah.
bit smaller, less bureaucratic, and it's more of like the boots on the ground type people
Yeah.
rather than like a kind of a bureaucrat that doesn't really know what's going on, to be honest. Like I've had
Yeah.
meetings with some of those people and say, hey, do any of your clients, anybody have they ever lived in shared housing? Oh, I don't know. Like, how do you work in this industry and you don't even know about this stuff? It's crazy. But it's still, if we can, if you can get in with those people, they're great contacts to have.
Gotcha.
So, you look at this. So this is what does all day long. I wonder if they have, okay, here's the staff.
I got a quick education, at least in Evansville, because I started trying to drill down on like the county website and the different, like, so you had the housing development, a couple other ones. So I was trying to drill down on those contacts because I just didn't want to start with just the general, because you got the general emails like, okay, I don't even know where that's going to. But in doing so, I came across, they did a housing study. I want to say it was about a year back or so, just for our hometown of Evansville, and it was discussing, the housing issue as compared to the employment or economic growth. So that's what kind of drove me a little bit further too. It was like, okay, yeah, I mean, we already knew that there's a housing issue or a housing crisis, but seeing the official report that the local government commissioned, um, kind of pushed it a little bit further as well.
I mean, it's pretty much a crisis everywhere. Even doing that, stuff like that is pretty time consuming, right?
Mhm.
So just in business in general, my theory is to buy more time. Kind of what you did with wholesaling, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
saw how time consuming it was. It's like, look, man, I just want to focus on the construction. I'm willing to pay this wholesaler 10, 15K just so I don't
Mhm.
have to figure all this stuff out, which honestly, it's not a bad idea. You probably need to look at a ton of deals in order to find a legit one though. And then on that point, it's not like those wholesalers are doing everything on their own. They have a team of virtual assistants, cold callers. That's how I learned all this stuff, like just managing virtual assistants. So
Yeah.
with the done for you deal, you're going to have your VA that's doing all this stuff. She all day long, she spends probably about half her day researching for our clients, like places like this.
Hmm.
You can see sometimes they'll be like, landlord liaison. Okay, we clearly need to speak with that person. But
Right.
if you look at this one, it might be you'll probably be speaking with Nana, maybe
Yeah. Looks
reentry
like.
team lead, or maybe one of the rapid rehousing team leads.
Yeah.
So, we may have to speak with Nana first, okay, hey, you know what? We want to do our follow-up meeting. This sounds great. Let's get Teresa, Haley, and Brooke on the call. Cool. You're going to do a follow-up with them. You're going to circle back, do a whole bunch of back and forth, right? And
Yeah.
that's the game. But you have our team in the background kind of doing all the time consuming stuff. And it's just, you just focus on showing up for the meetings, doing the homework assignment gives you, just kind of being the boots on the ground while the team does, is working in the background for you.
Gotcha.
That's the biggest value from that, in my opinion, is just one, you're taking care of the tedious stuff. And then on
Mhm.
top of that, I don't know, I always learn from like watching, or like I'm big on like seeing it in person.
Yeah.
Like for flipping houses, for example, did you ever shadow anybody or go check out an actual flip or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I had a few guys were I wouldn't call them mentors, but they kind of showed me a few things here and there, and some of the flips that they had going on. So I was able to take YouTube University and apply it to real life, especially with those guys there were actually on the ground and they knew the neighborhoods and what an actual deal looks like, which it gets lost when you're doing that kind of research on on what to do in a certain business.
So much more powerful to actually see things in real life. You can read about real estate and so many courses, interviews, YouTube videos, but if you actually like just I worked in construction, so luckily I had that, but just go to a flip, interact with the contractors, like see a property before it's flipped, smell it, like
Yeah.
how awful it is. You're like, all right, this is the type of properties we're looking for to flip, right? You'll get that feeling being on these meetings and just kind of hearing Eric do his thing. On the
Mhm.
first call or two, we encourage you to ask questions as much as you want, but some people don't even speak besides hi, nice to meet you on the first call. Uh,
Right.
yeah, so well, hey, my name's I'm the community outreach team manager with a company name here, new real estate company. Plan on opening 3 to 5 properties in the next year here in Evansville. We saw that you have a, blah, blah, blah program. You seem like the type of people that we would like to work with, and we're just calling to get more information on that program. We also have our operational manager on the call, and we really look forward to working with you.
Hmm.
You guys made my day. We get, you know, like you'll hear things like that because a lot of these people, that's their job to try to find investors or, properties to work with. And, if you're in any forums or anything like that, you kind of see the kind of negative connotation that a lot of investors have with this. So that's what they're dealing with. If you go to is another one of our coaches,
Yeah.
and she was one of our first clients. So just that fear of actually picking up the phone held her back for years, 5 to be exact,
Yeah.
5 years. So, she had gone through the course a million times, all the podcasts. It was just that fear of just picking up the phone and talking to these people. She'd never done it,
Right.
which it's the first actionable step. She was rocking and rolling and leading those calls after like the third meeting. She's like, oh, this is easy. So
Yeah.
that's the main goal. And I don't think you could put a price tag on that. And then as well as just kind of that idea of, buying your time back. She's what we call the community outreach team. She's the
Mhm.
lead. What that means is she's just going to be the one that's like, she's going through the CRM, she's doing the manual research. She's going to be the one that's reaching out to these places. We have a lot of like copy and paste stuff that works, so we use it. And then she's
Yeah.
just going to be coordinating the meeting with you, the contact at the organization. But it's also, it's really cool to have a virtual assistant there that's just like, say we get an email from, we get a response to the Google ad. Medell's going to pop in there. Hey, this is the response that we got. They want to meet with you. What's your schedule like? You can, hey, Medell, respond back with blah, blah, blah. It's just
Mhm.
really cool to have an assistant doing that. The digital presence package is really cool, in my opinion. This is one of those things that you can actually put dollar amounts on to put an exact dollar amount on it. But I don't know if you've ever looked up search engine optimization or like Google ad management or anything like that.
I kind of skimmed over it. I haven't really delved deep into it. I got understanding about it, to say the least, I guess.
I mean, that's what I can say, me personally, as well. So Google Ads, SEO, that's one of those things that I do not have time to learn it. I just
Mhm.
find really talented people that are masters at it, and that's who is going to do that stuff for you. So we have a ton of keywords that do really well with Google Ads, and then we have basically SEO content. So do you have a website already?
No, that's the other reason why I was looking at doing for you, because I know that's highly important
You're not a website
nowadays.
developer?
Oh, absolutely not.
This is what's going to be on the contract. We have this recorded. I'll send you the recording. So I'm on record saying it. We do it anyways. We like to under promise, over deliver.
Mhm.
So we do design the website for you. There we
Hey,
go.
yeah, Brandon, if you could, because my wife's listening as well. I know I've tried to. We've discussed it. If you can kind of elucidate to it a little bit on the, because I understand what you guys you're saying about finding the contacts before property.
Yeah.
Me and her kind of talked about it, and and I think she gets it. I think it'd be helpful if you could kind of lean into that when you get a chance.
The issue of getting the property like before or after the contacts.
Yeah, before. So setting up a house before you have the contacts.
Beautiful. That's a great question. Super common. We'll dive into that. We do the website development. You
Mm-hmm.
can research how much that is. But with the SEO, we have a ton of blog content.
Mm-hmm.
So it's based on like the stuff that Andy's done in the past that at one point he was right at the top whenever anybody like was looking for this type of housing. So
Okay.
with the digital presence stuff, it's a it's a long-term thing. We're
Mm-hmm.
setting the foundation for you to
Yep.
ideally you continue that relationship with our guy afterwards or manage it on your own. But eventually, we want you guys to be, rank on that first page. So when someone looks up sober housing or transitional housing in Evansville, you
Mm-hmm.
guys are at the top. So again, a lot of this stuff is laying the foundation for you.
Gotcha.
So regarding that, that's a great question. There's no right or wrong answer. Is she on the call now?
Yeah, she's listening.
Is she talking?
No, no, she's just kind of listening.
Does she want to? I'll ask you. What is the strategy for the home acquisition? Are you guys going to buy or do
I
you,
think so. Initially, I'm looking at rental, trying to partner with a landlord initially.
can I ask
Um,
why?
to me, with the capital that we have working now, and then just looking at our current housing market here, I think rental would be the most effective and efficient way to start, anyways.
Okay. In my opinion, it's just resources. So
Mm-hmm.
like if you don't have or you don't want to tie up a bunch of money into a property, then leasing is a great route.
Yeah.
Eventually though, if you can combine the strategies that you learned like with the house flipping rather than flip it, this could just be one of those tools in the tool belt or
Yeah.
or the only tool, instead of flipping that for a little bit of profit or at cost. That property that you flipped at cost, there probably was a bunch of equity in the home, right?
Yeah. Yep.
How much would you have cash flowed if you rented it out? Did you ever run those numbers?
I did on the first one, and honestly, I think it was right around the typical landlord.
200-300.
Yeah, at best, and I think as well as I didn't know the neighborhoods at the time that well, and that neighborhood come to find out was pretty rough.
Yeah.
When you're finding drug needles in the trash can and stuff like that, I was like, oh Lord.
It was going to transition, just not anytime soon.
Right. If ever, if ever. But and it also I got caught in a floodplain too, so that tacked on some costs that I wasn't expecting until the insurance came back. It's like, oh, okay, this is not good.
That wasn't included in your wholesaler's packet, was it?
No, not at all. Not at all. Was it? Not at all.
The reason I bring that up, we think that eventually the goal for most people, at least what does, right? Andy's going to get a property at massive discount, either through wholesaling or through his connections, right? He's going to fix it up really cheap. So you were probably paying a general contractor. He's got basically subs that work for him full time. So he's able to get stuff done at ridiculous pricing. So he's going to do your strategy, but he's just a little more seasoned. He's going to have a ton of equity in that property. And then on top of that, instead of just renting it out, he's going to run of these things in there, which
Right.
are, even if you rent it, you're still probably going to make like 2 or 3K if the property's filled. So
Right.
we think that once you can kind of learn everything, that's a good strategy, right? To kind of build, long-term wealth, and at least you'll get more cash flow too. So let's go with the leasing. You're going to need to lease. So I'll ask you right now. So you find a property, it's 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, perfect property. Are you ready to put your deposit and first month's rent down tomorrow?
Yeah.
You will?
Yeah.
What about your wife?
Yeah. Yeah. She said, yeah.
Okay, beautiful. There was no hesitation there. Do you have some reserves stashed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So that's great. Like I said, there's no wrong reason. If you guys let's say you did that, you have a property available. Do you have contacts to call and let them know?
You mean as far as the clients would be?
Yeah. How are you going to
Uh,
fill the property?
Yeah. As of right now, no.
Yeah. So you definitely can get the property. This is just personal preference. Even Andy, if you listen to those marketing calls, you never hear him like selling a property or talking about a property, right?
Right.
He's not going to get a property or, convert one of his rentals until he has like a wait list built up, or he's got a new, organization that wants to work with him.
Right.
So we found just for confidence reasons, most people kind of balk at that. They're like, I don't know if I'm ready to get a property yet. So that's why we typically recommend to get those contacts. So you guys are gung ho about it now. What about, if you've spoken with, 5, you have great relationships with like 5 places and a bunch of nanas here waiting for you to let them know when the property's ready, or even
Yeah.
if you have a contract ahead of time,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
you're not just going to tell me yes, you guys are going to be like, look, we need a property. We
Right.
need it. So that's kind of how we typically do it. We get to that point where all right, this works. I'm confident, I can walk into any one of these shelters with my business cards and I'm going to close that caseworker. We want you to
Hmm.
be there and you'll feel like, all right, I need a property, which I love the fact that you guys were so gung ho already. That's a very good sign.
Yeah. Definitely.
Now, I'm a landlord. Why would I work with you?
Well, I can say this is that with the model that we want to put in your property is that we're going to take a lot of the responsibilities that you would have with a normal tenant off your shoulders, starting with the rent's going to be paid every month without question. and then the maintenance of the property. One, we're going to take above and beyond care of your property because we want to run a clean, safe environment ourselves for our clients.
That's what everybody says, and they're required to do that by the lease. So
Mm.
why would I want to rent to you and like your homeless clients instead of this 9 to 5 professional that's travels all the time and can pay me on auto draft?
Right. We would be taking care of those maintenance calls that you would typically get at whatever hour of the day. We're going to take care of those maintenance calls.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, as well as, like I said, with the rent being on time every month without question. And if we do have a problem tenant or a problem client in the home, our process is way more streamlined than it would be for a traditional tenant. So it wouldn't be 6 to 12 months on an eviction, as we can remove the person immediately from the property if there's an issue with that person. So it alleviates you having to go through any kind of eviction process. It alleviates you from worrying about normal wear and tear and maintenance on your property, as well as having, a direct point of contact that will handle that for you. And we, honestly, without charging you to manage that, we're managing that on our own and making sure that, you're getting paid for your property on time.
Beautiful. It's good. You're doing good, and I'm putting you on the spot. So really, all that we ask of you, well, this is just optional. All right, another part of the under promising, over delivering.
Mhm.
If you can find an investor that's at least curious enough to hop on a call, we'll pitch that investor for you.
Gotcha.
So you'll get to hear our pitch. Similar to those first calls, you just sit back. We give you kind of the script that you can use and you can post in investor groups, the kind of elevator pitch that you're going to want to say at meetups. Are you guys familiar with meetups?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did you go to those
Yeah,
prior?
I was actually a member of the Syria in Indianapolis there for a while. And they would have, I think it's monthly. They would have monthly meetups of like all the investors from every like niche, be landlord, flipper, whatever, and they all would show up to that and kind of network there. So it was a great experience as far as attending that.
Perfect. So like the elevator pit, you know how there's always the networking. Hey, what do you do? Oh, hey, I'm a flipper, I'm a vet, and I've been looking into this really niche kind of secret, well, not secret, but not a lot of people know about it, but it's a niche strategy in affordable housing. It's a way to 10x the cash flow of a typical rental property, get guaranteed checks from the government, and have way more control over the property. So no more evictions, no deferred maintenance, nothing like that. You have way more control over the property. I have all my systems in place. I've been networking with local organizations for referrals. I actually have a contract with Aurora, blah, blah, blah. They have hundreds of clients, and I could probably fill up 3 to 5 properties right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking for one to start. I saw that you had a vacant property. I thought that it'd be perfect for it. If you're interested in learning more about the business, I'd love to take you out for coffee sometime, or at least hop on a call, maybe later next week.
Yeah.
You're a landlord. you know, you got properties sitting
Mm-hmm.
vacant. You just lost thousands of dollars on one, and your best one is netting you $200. Someone like you approaches them at a meetup like that. Would you say no to a Zoom call?
You're right. I mean, I wouldn't, but
it's it's we don't put this in the contract because this is one of those things that you need to do. You need to get the people on the call. But
yeah.
from there, we've never done a pitch and had an investor say no.
Right.
They're always interested. It doesn't always work out logistically, but we've never gone through a pitch and gotten an investor that's like, no, this is BS. I don't want to do it. Or even a polite no. Every single one has been like, all right, like this is legit. Because we have every objection, every question, gonna have an answer to,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, that's not legal. I don't want to deal with zoning. He's just gonna go into all the stuff you hear in the legal section of the Gold Course. I did the pitch for Jade. It was somebody that she knew in a personal network. He's still like, it didn't work out just because he didn't like the property situation, but he introduced Jade to another investor, and Jade was able to close that person on her own.
Yeah.
So no sales experience, had never done a sales call before, and she was able to close a savvy real estate investor on this just after hearing me do my thing. Right. So a lot of power in that. If you listen to this one came out, I think it came out today. Yeah, this one came out today. This is Hannah, another she was a done for you client where same thing. Actually very similar to you, real estate background, not flips, but she was a landlord, struggling as most of them are.
Yeah.
Even with that, she wanted to lease or she had to lease. She did just a real estate post in one of the Facebook groups with the copy we gave her. And guy was pretty pumped about it before the call. And then we just hopped on the call and closed it for him. And now she is working on property number 2 at this point, I believe.
Nice.
So yeah, there's you kind of asked like what's the plan if there's no referral sources. We kind of handle that ahead of time, right? So we're going to guarantee that we make at least 3 introductions for you. And we're never going to take on a client where we're not completely confident that we can do that. So both of these places, for sure, you're going to have your 3 calls. And I'll be honest, we do 5 calls with you again. So, but those last couple, we want you to kind of be leading it, and then we'll assess the situation from there. You'll have no problem pitching this once you hear Eric do his thing.
Yeah.
I'll tell the team, Evansville, Indianapolis, we'll do both of those areas for you. And then we'll just we'll let you decide. If you see that we're starting to there's more opportunity in Indianapolis, you're okay with the drive, we'll do that. This will be a good idea or a good indicator. Shelters are great for referrals, but they typically don't have like a set person. They're usually slammed, so they don't respond to emails and calls and stuff. So this is going to be one of those assignments. Like once you're super confident and your pitch is impeccable, you'll be able to go to these places and kind of do your thing.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, quite a few shelters. There's already quite a few organizations.
Yeah.
Have to figure out how to do it with ads. We don't start running ads till the 2nd month. So maybe after doing marketing, we can kind of see where you really want to target.
Yeah.
And we'll make that change with the Google ads I'm talking about.
Right.
Do you know what those are, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. So yeah, that's it. How are you guys doing on time? I always talk too much.
Yeah. No. We're good. We're good. We're just you've answered a lot of our concern. I think our main concern was the area and how effective the model would work with that. I think it's possible here in Evansville. It was just one of those things of seeing what you guys.
It's possible. Let's get you talking with Aurora. Like in the beginning, it's kind of quiet because in the beginning, I want you to be working with to like get any general questions that you have. He'll probably give you like, do you guys have an LLC set up or anything like that?
No, I kind of refrained from doing that because I didn't want to because I know listen to a few of them and I knew that when I started with the flips, you kind of get into that you're doing work, but you're not doing work type
Exactly.
of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The
I've
busy
kind of,
work.
yeah, I've kind of checked myself on that. I was like, oh great, I got a logo made, and then I was like, okay, let me stop because this is not.
Yeah, there's I see it so much. Even back when I used to go to like the real estate meetups, there were a whole bunch of people I came up with, and I slowly just surpassed them. And every meetup, hey man, how's your marketing going? Oh, I haven't put any mailers out or making calls, but I got my website designed. I built my Podio system. I got my like every
Yeah,
like, man, it's been 2 months, dude. You haven't made a phone call yet. Like,
right. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to keep myself in check on that because I don't want to fall into that pit of
yeah,
being
yeah.
busy.
Well, this will force you. And there is stuff that needs to get done, right? You're gonna need that website.
Yeah,
Um, but and again, we do a vast majority of that stuff that people just, take forever to do, right? We'll do it in those first couple of weeks. But in the beginning, we need to get the website done. We need to get the contact list.
yeah,
Medell needs to do her thing, contacting these people and then going back and forth with the places to actually get the meetings set up.
yeah.
But I would say again, no, there's no guarantee, but typically within the first 2 to 3 weeks, we'll have those first couple of meetings set up. So I
Okay.
would like to get you in front of, I want to have you talking with these guys within 2 weeks from now.
Okay. Yeah, she's giving me the head nod. Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So, um, did you guys have any other questions, concerns, or really anything that's holding you back, anything that you were unsure of?
No, no, I think that was the biggest thing. And been great. I figured that she's kind of busy on her response times, so that's why I reached out to you to kind of get your take on it. And again, I think the biggest thing that we was looking at, because I get all the rest of the scope of work and the process, and from listening to the podcast and getting a good grasp on um, how the procedure works and everything. It's just one of those trying to get your professional opinion on the area as compared to what the Done For You program can actually action with that.
It's not the woods, I can tell that. So
Yeah, no, yeah, no, it's a fairly decent area. Like I said, it's about 100,000, 120,000 or so population, and we're right there. We're actually right on the border between us and Kentucky, so we get a lot of. We're actually we're 2 or 3 states connected. Really, it's like we're right in the corner of Illinois, Kentucky, and then Ohio's not that much farther. So it's like a real regional hub as far as that goes.
let's start in Evansville and we'll do Indianapolis as well. Bare
Okay.
minimum, I know there's going to be more organizations that we can at least get you in front of and kind of
Yeah.
speak with.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, let's do it. Evansville, I can tell it'll work. I mean, there was a bunch of places that popped up. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and on top of that, again, the meetings, they're really just like confidence boosters. We want you
Mhm.
guys to see how to speak with people, get proof of concept. Once you do get the property lined up, there
Yeah.
is like a bunch of other marketing that we're going to have you do to the general public, and you're going to be you should be interacting with actual potential licensees as well. So,
Yeah.
but it's really just about, kind of pushing you step by step. So, getting you confident enough to get that property, helping you get that property as much as we can. Then once you do get the property lined up, then we really kick it into overdrive, get you doing the follow-up meetings with the places you've spoken with.
Mhm.
Um, at that point, the Google ads are going to be rocking and rolling. And then we'll have you guys do like Roomies posts, Facebook Marketplace posts. We try Craigslist. All of those apps have a lot of security settings. So we give you all
Mhm.
the copy and tell you exactly what to do. It's just on
Yeah.
you. I definitely wouldn't be speaking with you this late on a Monday if I didn't think you guys would do these things though.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Well, yeah, man, I think you guys are great candidates for it. No doubt that if you follow through on your end, even if it's
Mhm.
not done for you, I think you guys will be successful, but absolutely excellent candidates for the done for you deal. And I'd love working with you guys.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate your time and answering those questions. It really gave us a little boost of confidence. I was already confident in the program. It's just one of those things, like, man, because you kind of like that the syndrome from the flips. Like, man, I know what was said in the
Yeah.
past, and
Hey, I'll be completely transparent with you. It's not a guaranteed success.
right,
What I can guarantee is that we're gonna do everything here, bare minimum. I'm kind of alluded to the other stuff we're gonna do, right?
right.
You can go on here and listen to we have a couple success stories popping in.
Mhm.
Not everybody that does this wants to come on the podcast. Hannah is a done for you client. Jade, client, coach now. Eric's one of the coaches, most likely yours.
Yeah.
Bob, done for you client. Leia, done for you client. Were you in the old Facebook group with Johnny Trump?
Yeah.
Johnny was one of our coaches. Still, great guy, no bad blood there, but he started a licensed property. So he found
Mhm.
out quickly that's like a 24/7 job. So no
Yeah.
longer coaching with us, but he was working with Leia, similar to Jade, like a similar background, no sales experience, no marketing, no real estate investing, nothing like that. She was scared. Like he did too many meetings for her. And I had to pop in there and be like, look, Leia, John's done doing these meetings. You're doing the next one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You got to
she
take.
just killed it. It's like we ripped the band-aid. So, I want this. This is kind of we're not going to give you the fish. We're going to teach you how to fish. One of those things. But
So
this is an awesome story. One of my favorites because now she checked in with us recently. She's opening her fourth property. So
nice.
she went from being too scared to even speak on a Zoom call to just absolutely crushing it. So I love seeing stuff like that. But to the point, no guarantee. I would say about it's tough to like run the numbers exactly. The last time I did it was when we had was like our first 25 clients.
Hmm.
So half the people just ghosted us. Okay. So if you ghost us, like if you're too scared to actually get the property or, do the follow-up meetings, or even, if you don't respond to us in Discord,
Yeah.
we can't do anything about that. Right. So,
Right.
so that's about half of the people, half of the first 25. The
Wow.
other half, they were either still working with us or had their first property rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
So pretty much, and this is why we like to screen pretty hard in the beginning. If you work with us, if you do kind of your end of the bargain, there's a very high probability that you're going to be successful.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Did you have any questions on the payment options? I know that you were going back and forth you had like a bank situation or something like that.
Yeah. No, that's been straightened out. I think I just need to said because I've done that with my bank before. Honestly, I was just trying to avoid having to call my bank and having to make that adjustment. But they'll do it with no problem as far as increasing the spending part of it, so like the payment can be processed.
Cool. And then there's payment options as well. Did Jill go over those with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Does it sound like something you guys are going to move forward on?
Yeah, I believe so.
Cool. Well, excellent. Sent you the payment links, correct?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Did you guys have any other questions for me?
No, I believe we're good to go, Brandon.
Excellent. Well, hopefully I've answered all your questions. You're going to start working with the team. hopefully tomorrow, man. Let's call the bank tomorrow, remove that, get the nice little discount for the one-time fee. And yeah, let's get to work. If you guys think of anything like that you forgot to ask me or anything like that, shoot me an email. But if not, I look forward to seeing you rocking and rolling and speaking with me and Andy soon here on the podcast.
Sounds good.
All right. Great speaking with you guys.
All right. You have a good one.
You too. Bye.